last night. Shout out to Correlation. She captured this. She stated, so nasty and unprofessional to have an official admin participating in hate narratives against Aliyah Boston. Y'all, someone tell AB to get those elbows out of here. That's what they put on Threads. Somebody said another hate narrative. So this is the post right here that caught smoke early today. This is what they put on a Threads account. Now, this is an Unrivaled team admin that did this. LOL, really have no shame.
That Threads post right there just became the most controversial social media moment in Unrivaled's short history. An official team admin participating in hate narratives against Aliyah Boston. Not a random fan account, not some anonymous troll, the actual verified league account posting, "Y'all, someone tell AB to get those elbows out of here." And what you're about to see is how this single post exposed something much bigger about how Indiana Fever players are treated across women's basketball. Because here's what makes this different from your typical social media drama. This wasn't some rogue intern who accidentally posted from the wrong account. This was a calculated decision by someone running official league communications. They saw the conversation happening about Aliyah Boston's physical play in Unrivaled. They decided to jump in, and they chose to frame one of the WNBA's most respected young stars as a dirty player throwing illegal elbows.
Like this, there would be a league-wide investigation. I have to 1000% agree with this. If the Indiana Fever admin remotely came close to doing anything like this, it will be Armageddon online, bro. Somebody else said, really, I just watched Angel shove Kelsey Mitchell in the back and get a layup. Well, we know Angel like to do that, but we're going to keep it going. Somebody else stated, not the first time an official Unrivaled account was inappropriate and out of their lane.
Now look at that reaction from the fan base. If the Fever account did something like this, there would be a league-wide investigation. And you know what? They're absolutely right. Imagine for 1 second if the Indiana Fever's official Twitter account posted something mocking an opponent's play style. Imagine if they participated in negative narratives about another team's star player. The outcry would be immediate. Kathy Engelbert would probably issue a statement within hours. But when it's directed at Fever players, silence. When it's Aliyah Boston being characterized as someone throwing dangerous elbows, apparently that's just admins trying to be relatable. And this wasn't even the only incident that night. Plies, the rapper who's a massive South Carolina basketball fan, decided to weigh in with his own take. Posted on Twitter that Kelsey Plum shows you how Aliyah Boston can look with a point guard that feeds her the ball. The implication being that Caitlin Clark doesn't pass to her teammates, which anyone who actually watches Fever games knows is objectively false.
Caitlin, but y'all cheer AB bulldozing folks and throwing elbows. Hold on, I gotta get into the chat session of this one. Somebody said that makes it okay for the team's admin to talk like that on their official page. Somebody else said official admins of the league posting things like this is frowned upon. That's the whole point. If it's one of you slows, it would have been laughed at. Journalists and laughable comprehension talking about itching fans compared to an admin. I don't know, man, but Aliyah Boston have been taking a bunch of flack. Just like I stated, she wasn't the only one. I mean, that wasn't.
And there it is. That comment captures exactly what's happening here. Plies doesn't watch Fever basketball games, because if he did, he'd know that Caitlin Clark led all rookies in assists during her first WNBA season. He'd know that Aliyah Boston's touches and shot attempts increased significantly as the season progressed. He'd know that the Fever's offensive system specifically runs through Caitlin creating opportunities for teammates. But facts don't matter when the narrative is already set. The narrative says Caitlin Clark is a selfish player who doesn't make her teammates better. Never mind that she broke the rookie assist record. Never mind that Boston had multiple 20-point games playing alongside Clark. Never mind that Kelsey Mitchell had a career year. The old guard has decided what the story is, and they're sticking to it regardless of evidence. What's particularly telling is how quickly this spread across multiple platforms. The Unrivaled admin posts their comment on Threads. Plies posts his take on Twitter within hours. Suddenly you've got multiple verified accounts with significant followings all pushing the same narrative about Fever players on the same night. That's not coincidence. That's a coordinated effort to shape public perception.
South Carolina basketball fan took to his Twitter account last night and pissed everybody off too. He stated Kelsey Plum shows you how Aliyah Boston could look with a point guard that feeds her the ball. Now, we know damn well, much as I love Plies, I'm a big Plies fan. Plies, you must don't watch Fever basketball games. Because if you watch Fever basketball games, you wouldn't have tweeted this right here. You just wouldn't have tweeted this, Plies. As much as I rock with you, bro, you don't watch Fever basketball games. Mike said, as if Caitlin Clark to Aliyah Boston isn't the most feared dude.
Look at how people are connecting this back to Dawn Staley. And they should, because this is where it gets really interesting. Plies is one of the most vocal South Carolina basketball supporters out there. He regularly promotes Dawn Staley's program. He's constantly hyping up Gamecocks players. So when he posts something critical of how Caitlin Clark uses Aliyah Boston, who coached Boston at South Carolina, Dawn Staley. Now, I'm not saying Staley told Plies to post that, but what I am saying is there's clearly a network of people in women's basketball who share a particular perspective about the Fever, and that perspective consistently frames Caitlin Clark as the problem, and her teammates as victims who'd be better off elsewhere. It's the same energy that fueled the Caitlin Clark's teammates don't like her narratives during the season. The same energy behind the constant speculation about whether Boston would be better on a different team. And here's what nobody wants to acknowledge. Aliyah Boston had a solid season playing alongside the WNBA's most dynamic rookie. She made the All-Star team. She improved her scoring efficiency. She became a more versatile defender. But instead of celebrating that growth, there's this constant undercurrent of imagine how good she could be without Caitlin. As if playing with a generational passer who draws constant defensive attention is somehow holding her back.
Staley know not to use Aliyah Boston full skill set like passing and shooting. Let's check out these comments. Pass. Dawn Staley isn't a good coach. She's a good recruiter based off her name as a player. Somebody else said, who led the league in assists their rookie season? Bro, CC got smoked first round. And Plum actually makes those passes to Boston, not turn them over. Wow. Plies watches the games. He's aware he just wants AB on another team. The only thing you new fans know is Caitlin play basketball. I like Fever for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark teammates good because they play with Caitlin Clark. Yeah.
That response right there gets to the heart of why this matters. Official admins of the league posting things like this is foreign and frowned upon. In every other professional sports league, that's absolutely true. Can you imagine an NBA team's official account mocking a player's style of play? Can you imagine an NFL team admin jumping into conversations to criticize how physical someone is? It doesn't happen because there are professional standards, because there's an understanding that official league accounts represent the brand, because there's basic respect for the athletes who make the league possible. But apparently those standards don't apply when we're talking about Indiana Fever players in women's basketball spaces. And let's be specific about what the Unrivaled admin was doing. They were participating in a narrative that Aliyah Boston plays dirty, that she throws elbows that should be called fouls, that her physical style of play is somehow problematic. Never mind that Boston is one of the cleanest post players in the game. Never mind that her foul rate is actually quite low for someone who plays her position. The admin saw an opportunity to pile on, and they took it. What makes this particularly frustrating is that Aliyah Boston is exactly the kind of player women's basketball should be celebrating. Former #1 overall pick, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, skilled on both ends, great teammate, handles media responsibilities professionally, represents the league well off the court. But because she plays for Indiana, because she's teammates with Caitlin Clark, she becomes a target for this kind of treatment.
And making up is, where do you think her passing game came from? Just an idiot and nonsensical hate towards another one and not associated with the Fever. Dawn Staley taught Aliyah enough for AB to win a national title. So what you guys can see here, man, Aliyah Boston is enduring some hate, man. But I want to know you guys' thoughts down in the comment section. Make sure you guys keep them bells on. And as soon as some CBA news come out, I'm going to let y'all know, bruh.
Now watch this part carefully, because this is where the video creator makes a crucial point. If you're an Indiana Fever fan in any shape, form, or fashion, you're just going to be treated different. I don't care what it is. They got the hottest team in the WNBA. They got the most fans in the WNBA. And every chance they get, old guard media people, old guard fans taking it upon themselves to point fingers and try to destroy Indiana Fever players' name, image, and likeness. And the evidence supports that claim. Look at how Fever players are covered compared to stars on other teams. When Breanna Stewart has a bad game, it's analyzed as a tough shooting night. When Caitlin Clark has a bad game, it becomes a referendum on whether she's overrated. When A'ja Wilson shows emotion on the court, she's competitive and passionate. When Caitlin Clark shows emotion, she's entitled and needs to mature. The double standard is consistent and obvious.
It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video, and it looked like Aliyah Boston has found herself in the headlines after dominating in Unrivaled. Let's just say this could be the reason why Caitlin Clark decided not to ever play in Unrivaled. Guys, for this one here, we got to go down to Florida. Let's get it. Let's go. And we got to jump right into the story, man. So it looked like Unrivaled admins took it upon themselves to put out clickbait content when it comes to Caitlin Clark teammate Aliyah Boston. Hell, even Plies got in on the action, pretty much saying that Caitlin Clark is not feeding her the ball. And then you got Unrivaled saying Aliyah Boston is using L.
And that's the setup that led to all of this. Unrivaled's admin decided to create clickbait content around Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston. They saw engagement numbers when they posted about Fever players. They recognized that controversy drives clicks. So they made a calculated business decision to participate in narratives that damage their own league's players for the sake of social media metrics. Here's what makes this situation so significant. Unrivaled is supposed to be the solution to the WNBA's off-season problem. It's supposed to give players a domestic option so they don't have to go overseas. It's supposed to build the women's basketball brand during the winter months. And it's backed by major stars like Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier, who have significant influence in the league. But when your official league accounts are participating in hate narratives against players, you're not building the brand. You're contributing to the toxicity that's been plaguing women's basketball for the past year. You're signaling to fans that it's acceptable to pile on certain players. You're creating an environment where some athletes are protected and others are fair game. Think about what this teaches young players watching the league. It teaches them that success makes you a target. That if you become too popular, too marketable, too successful, the establishment will turn on you. That playing for certain teams means you'll be treated differently regardless of your performance. That's not the message any league should be sending. And let's talk about the business implications here. Indiana Fever fans represent the largest and most engaged fan base in women's basketball right now. They drove record attendance numbers. They created unprecedented social media engagement. They brought new viewers and sponsors to the league. And the response from various corners of women's basketball has been to alienate them at every opportunity. The Unrivaled admin's post is just the latest example, but it's part of a pattern that includes everything from the dark side comments to the constant speculation about whether Fever players actually like each other. There's this persistent effort to undermine the team that's currently driving the most interest in women's basketball. And it's not coming from casual fans or random trolls. It's coming from people with official platforms and verified accounts. Now, some people will say this is just social media drama, that everyone's too sensitive, that it's not that deep. But when you're running an official league account, it is that deep, because you're not just some random person with an opinion. You're representing a professional sports league. Your words carry weight. Your posts influence how players are perceived. And when you choose to participate in negative narratives, you're actively harming the athletes who make your league possible. The Aliyah Boston situation is particularly egregious, because she's done absolutely nothing to deserve this treatment. She doesn't talk trash on social media. She doesn't create controversy. She shows up, plays hard, and represents her team professionally. But because she's Caitlin Clark's teammate, because she plays for the Fever, she becomes collateral damage in this ongoing campaign to diminish everything associated with Indiana. And here's the question nobody in positions of authority seems willing to address. What's the endgame here? What's the goal of constantly attacking the league's most popular team and its players? Because if the goal is to grow women's basketball, this ain't it. If the goal is to create a sustainable professional league, alienating your largest fan base is a terrible strategy. If the goal is to support all players equally, singling out Fever players for criticism while protecting others isn't accomplishing that. The reality is that some people in women's basketball are more interested in controlling the narrative than growing the game. They're more concerned with maintaining the old power structures than embracing new audiences. They'd rather tear down rising stars than celebrate what they're accomplishing. And that mindset is going to limit the league's potential until it changes. So what should happen here? At minimum, Unrivaled should acknowledge that their admin crossed a line. They should clarify that official league accounts won't participate in negative narratives about players. They should establish clear social media guidelines for anyone running their verified accounts. And they should recognize that building women's basketball means supporting all players, not just the ones who fit a particular narrative. But I'm not holding my breath, because the pattern has been consistent. When Fever players or their fans raise concerns about how they're treated, they're told they're being too sensitive. When they point out double standards, they're accused of playing victim. When they ask for the same respect other teams receive, they're labeled as entitled. The gaslighting is constant and deliberate. What's going to be interesting is how this affects Unrivaled's relationship with current and future Fever players. Caitlin Clark notably chose not to participate in Unrivaled's inaugural season. And after seeing how their admin treats Indiana players, can you blame her? Why would you want to play in a league where the official accounts are actively participating in narratives against you and your teammates? Aliyah Boston is in Unrivaled right now. She's performing well. She's being professional, despite this controversy. But you have to wonder what she's thinking privately. When you see a league admin mocking your playstyle, when you see influential figures questioning whether you'd be better off away from your teammates, when you see this constant drumbeat of negativity directed at your team, it has to affect how you view these spaces. The bigger picture here is about respect. It's about whether women's basketball is going to be a league where all players are treated fairly, or whether some teams and players will always be targets. It's about whether official accounts will maintain professional standards, or whether they'll chase engagement by participating in toxic narratives. It's about whether the people running these leagues understand that you can't grow the game by tearing down your most popular players. So here's my question for you. Is this just social media drama that everyone should ignore? Or is this a legitimate problem that reveals deeper issues in how women's basketball treats certain players and teams? Because from where I'm sitting, when official league accounts are participating in hate narratives, that's not drama. That's a systemic problem that needs to be addressed. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you think this kind of treatment of Fever players needs to stop, make sure you share this video so more people understand what's actually happening